Freedom Bench, Series 2. So, you want to reload 223 Remington for your AR-15, America's rifle. Our forefathers would be proud. Let's do it! Welcome back to the bench. Tonight we're going to be talking about brass prep. So what we got here is we got some assorted brass in 9mm, 223, 5.56, and 350 Legend. We've got it all cleaned up for the first go around. Tonight I want to focus on two things: primer pockets and case length trimming. So one of the things that I found out after testing a couple things is that the primer pocket reaming has been giving me a little bit of trouble. So I'm going to do a test batch here of 30 rounds that'll fit in my magazine for my AR-15, and we're going to take this 30 round test and we're going to see this series all the way through, and we're going to finish this series at the range. So let's get to it. Alright, before we get too far into this video, I wanted to introduce a new addition to the bench. This is the Lee Universal Decapping Die. And let's get this guy out. So in every set of dies that you get from Lee, the decapping part of the process is usually included with the resizing die. The issue with that is that when you get into rifle reloading, a lot of the cases, I think almost all of the cases, require you to lubricate the case when you're resizing. So it's kind of difficult. I'd like to have that clean when you're lubing the cases. So this decapping die allows you to just decap dirty brass. As you can see, this is a 350 Legend. That's still dirty. And this isn't resizing, so you can just put it in there. You can see how it wobbles. It's not resizing, so it's not gonna, not that, I don't know that dirty brass would actually ruin your dies, but it just makes it easier. That way you can do any type of caliber all at the same time, and you can just decap all at once, and then you can clean all at once. So I've already got this set up. We'll screw it all the way down here, and you can see the spent primer there. We'll get that popped out here. There you go. Into the bin. We'll do 3 of them here. Now, going back to what I was talking about earlier with reaming and primer pocket seating, this is actually a live primer. It's not a spent primer, and I wanted to test it inside this brass because I've actually reamed this one out, and this one's actually sitting in ready to go. But I'm going to pop it out because I haven't resized this case yet, so I'll let you guys see this. Hopefully we don't get any fireworks tonight, so in case we do, we'll have it on video. That came out nicely. Same thing on this one. Beautiful. I already called an audible. I'm going to do 20 rounds instead of 30. Just seems like a better test group. So let's get to it. First thing I want to talk about is primer pockets. As you can see here, these are all Lake City brass from Winchester factory ammo. And if we can get it to work here, you can see there's a little ridge around the primer pocket, which is a crimp, and that needs to be removed. But the first thing I want to do is measure the depth of this primer pocket to see if it's within spec. A small rifle is 0.117 to 0.123, I believe, somewhere in there. So I got the micrometer out, and let's measure this. So if you don't know how to measure these, at the end of your micrometer, there's a little end that sticks out there that allows you to measure the depth of certain things. So we'll put this in like this and push it down to measure. You can see that it's flush there, and the reading is 0.119. So I think that is well within our range, and we're going to go with it. So I'm just going to do the rest of these 19 quick just to give me a feel, and then we'll tune back in. Before you think I'm too crazy, let me explain a little bit better what I'm going to be doing. This is a Reamer, and it came out of the Lyman tool that we discussed in the 9mm series. And I'm going to put this into my drill and use it to clear out the primer pockets for the crimp. And what I am unsure about now is whether or not this tool is going to change the seating depth of the primer, which would not be something that we want to do. All we want to do is remove the primer crimp. So by measuring this is 0.119, after I ream it out and I measure it again, I'm hoping we're still around 0.119. And if that's the case, then we're good. If it's not the case and we're actually digging deeper into the primer pocket, that's something I want to know about. So I'm going to get this thing loaded up into the drill, and we're going to start working through these. I'll show you how it turns out. I'll show you the process. Let's do it. I measured the depth of this primer pocket. It's 0.112. So I got the drill ready to go. Got the Reamer in there. Let's see how it goes. Can't see the ridge anymore, so I like that. Let's see how this works. .195. I like that. So what this is doing is just simply removing the crimp, which is good. So let's work through the rest of the 19 and we'll move on to the next step of the process. Now that we have all the primer pockets reamed out, the next part of the process is making sure that the brass is to the correct case overall length. SAMI specs for 223 Remington are 1.73 to 1.76. So what we're going to shoot at for is something below 1.76. And let's measure this one to see what it's measuring at. This one's currently measuring at 1.763. So that's actually a little bit longer than specifications. So in order to combat this issue, another addition to the Freedom Bench was the Lee Deluxe case trim, which we've got loaded up here into the press. And what this does is automatically sets a specification to case length, and when you raise the case up into the quick trim, you can spin the knob here, and that actually trims and chamfers and deburrs the cartridge all at once. So one of the things that you always have to be careful of is that when you're trimming cases, is that the case mouth can get kind of gnarly. So different, as you're trimming it, you want to make sure that that's nice and clean and smooth and has a nice edge to it. So to kind of add all of those steps into one, we added the Deluxe Quick Trim to the bench. So what I have this set up for right now is slightly over 1.75. So the goal is to be below 1.76, and if we're in that 1.75 to 1.76 range, we're calling these things good. So let's take a look and see what is going to happen here with this case. So we'll load it up, raise it into the die, and with the ram down, let's do a couple spins. See how nice that looks? It's beautiful. A couple little nicks here that we can rub off. You can actually see it shine there. Nice clean edge there. So let's see what the length is here. We are now at 1.757, which is under 1.76. So we're going to call this good. And I think this quick trim is set up properly, and couldn't be more happier with it. Actually, I've seen a lot of guys use different machines that you can use to crank and to, you know, automate the process, but I think this is going to work out nicely. We're not going to be able, or we're not going to have to rather chamfer and take the lineman tool out and clean this thing again. This press system here is doing that all in once. So we're going to get all of these things to the proper length, and then we're going to end the video there, and we'll check in with you guys later. Thanks for watching.